Welcome back to the Marketing Minute podcast. This time, the roles have switched. I have Joleen right here next to me. She used to be sitting here, so now, hello, Joleen.
Hi, Jamie.
How are you today?
Good. I am so glad to be back and be in the co-hosting seat instead of hosting this time.
Yeah, I want to change. Just today. So today we're going to talk about branding. Joleen, can you tell me about what branding is in the social media world and digital world? Because why is it important?
Yeah. So, as the brand strategist at the Adlib, that is definitely one thing that I'm super passionate about and have carried throughout my clients and keep kind of having to educate them on why that's so important and what that means, especially when it comes to social media. And you have to think and show examples of very, high-end clients or established brands for them to understand and grasp the idea. Mm-hmm. When you see an ad for Coca-Cola, you know it's Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a purple polar bear this time instead of a white one. Exactly.
No, not even in Halloween.
No, exactly. And for Halloween, they may have fun, but it's always with the same branding tied in at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of basically what you want to make sure you're doing on social media. And in social media, there's so many different ways you can do this, and you guys probably aren't even going to think of half the things we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. But the small details can go a long way. Yeah. And on social media, there's so much you can add into your profiles, your campaigns, that can take it and tie it all together and tell your story. Mm-hmm. So what's the number one thing we do when we get clients for social media? The first thing we do?
Oh, we need the branding colors, the palette, the logo. What should I use? Like, if a client has a green logo, I need the color of
right,
that.
Exactly. Green. We want the hex codes. We want your font family. And if we need to purchase the entire font family so we can have different weights, all of those little things, we want to know what taglines to use, what they mean, what your slogan is. We need to have the correct logo. If you have a secondary logo that's maybe a simpler design, okay, and then you have a bigger logo. So we need all of those things to really get started on your project. And then the next thing we do is we go in and optimize your social media platforms. And everybody's like, well, how are you optimizing my social media platforms? Aren't you just setting them up?
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, we are just setting them up, but there are so many things within setting those profiles up that will connect all of your accounts into your brand. Yes. So small things off the top of your head you can think of when you're optimizing a social media account. What do you think is important?
Oh, the logo, like the image on the top when you go to the feed of a client, that's really important because it tells you who it is. People are not going to read. Like, we are in a time where if it's the quicker, the better. So
girl, the attention span's like 5 seconds these days.
I think it's now 3, thanks to TikTok. Okay,
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true. Everybody's attention span is really, they just want the information's quick, fast, to the point, and they want it to be as accurate as possible.
Exactly.
So if I decide, my logo is all fleshed out and I'm going to make it my profile picture, boom, it looks beautiful. But then Halloween comes around and I just want to redo my whole logo and it's going to have a little vampire fangs and I'm going to put this and this. You may be able to get away with that for the month of October, but also you have to think, and especially it has a lot to do with where your business is in development. Yeah. Let's say you're a new brand, you just launched, and then the next month is October and you decide to pop up with this new logo. Nope. Everybody's going to be real confused.
Yeah,
everybody's like, excuse me, wait, what? And then you don't become trustworthy. You just seem a little fishy, a little scammy, a little like you don't have it all together. And if you don't have it all together, why am I going to ask you to do any type of services for me or product? Right. Mm-hmm. So definitely stick to your core always. When holidays come around, if you are an established brand, you can get away with that. We saw Apple do it for Pride. Yes. They all go really fun, but they've been around for years to establish that. When you see that certain apple shape, it's Apple. Yeah. Regardless of if they fill it in with a rainbow for Pride or they make it orange for Halloween or they put a Santa hat dangling off the end. Whatever the situation is, you know who it is. So it's all about that recognition. Mm-hmm. Now, there is some other things when we optimize social media platforms that people don't think about at all, and they don't understand how that has to do with their branding. For example, bios. The bio. Everybody thinks that is the moment where you can put your little call to action and your little why you should work with me and all your phone numbers and all your contact information. Okay,
This-
so
this business.
yeah, and you want to explain your whole life. You want to put the whole story right there. First of all, you want to keep that area really short to the point, and you want it to tell exactly what your brand is, which 90% of the time is going to be a slogan or a tagline.
Exactly.
That's all you need to put there, guys. Because guess what? Social media is so great these days. It has those areas and buttons and functions for everything else that you want to put in that bio. So, your phone numbers, your emails, your locations, who to contact, all of that stuff, you can also add it into your bio, but what describes and is right there for the person to read right under your brand name should literally be your tagline that tells your story.
Yeah.
Or it should be the slogan that speaks to why you do what you do. And guess what? Should be the same against all your social media
Everywhere.
platforms.
So
exactly the same.
You're telling me that if I have a bio on TikTok and I have a bio on Facebook and they're different, it's not working for me?
No, because I'm a little worried you might not know what your bio is as a business owner.
I look confused then.
Yes,
Like,
you
I'm
look
not sure.
confused.
Okay.
And if you look confused, think of how you look to the consumer.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautifully confused.
Yes, beautifully confused with multiple bios, logos, and everything all over the place. And a great thing that I would say all of you should make is a branding guide. We'll circle back to that.
Okay. Please.
But for social media purposes, you want to make sure your bio is all on point. You also want to make sure that most platforms allow you to pick like a category or an industry that you're in. You want to stay consistent. How are you going to be found?
Exactly.
Yeah, you need that. So you need to make sure it's relevant to your business and it's consistent.
And that also helps with SEO, right?
Yeah.
So the keywords and all that stuff
Yeah.
in the bio will help?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So many magical things happen on social media that people don't even understand.
Yeah, right? Oh god, okay.
And then just some other small things with social media. When you're posting, you want to make sure the tone in your captions reads the same. If you do graphics or even if you just do really high quality imagery, you still want to convey the same story throughout. And always look at your account overall. I think a lot of problems we run into these days is people are so hyper focused on that one particular ad and that one particular post and what it looks like. And I completely agree. Every post should have thought, care, strategy, creative, and reason behind it. But you also want to take a step back and look at a 5,000-foot view of all of your accounts and kind of make sure that they're telling the same story, that they follow the same branding. Everything looks beautiful. You're using the same colors. You have the same logo as all of your profile pictures. Your bios match. Maybe you have a pinned post and all of it's there the same. The information's all up to date. Those small things when you're posting and when you're adjusting your profiles can really help you, 1, be found.
Yes.
2, after I find you, I gotta remember you. Because I'm probably looking at 10 to 15 different other businesses to do whatever product or service I may need.
Exactly.
And then you want to be remarkable and memorable, which is what I like to say, because just like I said, 1, how am I going to remember you? So you need to give me something that's like, oh wow, what is this girl? She got the cutest logo. I love her social media posts. Okay,
Yeah.
I might have to buy from her.
Yeah.
That type of thing, because like if I go on there and the first couple posts look great, and then it gets a little weird and a little messy, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if she's figured it out quite yet.
Yeah, no. It also looks kind of spammy. Like those accounts that give you like, oh, promote it here. Oh my God, this is amazing. DM us for more info. It's just, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
spam. And you don't know what the official account is, what the real business account is. Somebody even could be impersonating your account.
It's true. It's not.
Make another one, and then consumer goes and
That's a whole
purchases
nother
from them.
podcast.
Yeah, there's a whole other story. And then you're wondering, why you're not getting any business, but this other one's growing. So it really all ties together, and it tells your story, and it helps the consumer remember who you are, and it makes you remarkable to them. It makes them want to buy in with you. What's enticing them, what's grabbing their attention.
Okay.
And you're probably all wondering, and we kind of sprinkled it in a moment ago, like, well, what can I do to help my marketing team, or what can an outside marketing team that I may be working with do to help me iron all this out and help all of my creatives across the board and everything I do marketing stay branded. And that's where a branding guide comes in. If I could float it over my head, branding guide. So what do we put in a branding guide?
Well, first and foremost, the logo, the colors, the font. That's kind of like basic.
Exactly. So that would be a very basic branding guide. You know, if you're just getting started, start with that.
Yes.
Then you want to put in maybe some taglines and slogans you use,
slogan.
and you want to put like when to use them, where to use them, and the context of what they mean to you and your story and how you want them to be conveyed with your audience. That's extremely important.
And the tone of voice. That's so important.
Exactly. That plays into tone of voice as well as like your industry and how you want to be conveyed. You know, you could be a really expensive esthetician that's doing amazing facials, but maybe you want to be a little more cheeky on social and you don't want to be as professional. You want to have fun with it and attract the ladies and the girlies, and that's totally fine, but you have to establish that from the beginning to get that flow going and to attract people and for them to understand, you know, oh, this is like how this business is, this is their vibe, this is their flow.
Exactly. So objectives are really important to help the marketing person behind the socials to set up that tone. So that's why it's really, really important.
Yes. And then some other things you could include is who to contact, what not to use. You know, you don't want to play around with your logo, reorganize it. You don't want to use drop shadows on print that can look off. You want to be careful even using some drop shadow on digital. So small things that you could tweak with your logo or accent colors and secondary, primary, and third colors, all of those things need to be established in your branding guide. Okay. And you may not know, you know, what exactly you should include. So I would start with the basics.
Let's start there.
And then as you build and as you change, you always want to update that. And then you always want to share it with anybody you're working with. And this goes for anybody. If you're working with an influencer that you just signed on and they're going to do all these great social media things for you, give them your branding guide.
Yes.
Because you don't know what they're going to post and you want to make sure it's on point and you're paying them and avoid all of that.
You're paying to represent you. So it's really important for you to give that information to them so they can represent that. Imagine that you're using an influencer that has like 2 million followers and they do it wrong.
Yeah.
You just lost a lot of money there.
Yeah, exactly. So that can be a problem. So save yourself the trouble. You know, and you'll feel more organized as a business owner. Let's get real, when you're doing marketing. It'll become way easier. If you just create a branding guide, stick to very branded on social, you know, keep your tone the same. Remember when you're posting and creating those graphics to keep kind of the design elements the same, make sure the colors are on point, and speak to who you are. If you stay true to you and your brand, it will be successful because you'll be remarkable and rememberable, just like we said.
Yeah, that's amazing. And those tips were so simple and to the point that I don't think anybody, like, well, if you have questions, leave it below, you know, where you
comment down below.
Leave it there, we'll answer. And we have Joleen or anybody else here in the social team to help you with any branding questions that you might have. Thank you, Joleen, so much for...
Of course, it's a pleasure joining you on this episode.
Thank you. And sitting there, not here. Well, guys, I'll see you in the next episode. Just stay tuned and you know where to find us, so stay tuned.
Yes, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.